what else? What else can we talk about today?
I got something.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm actually a multifamily investor. I do these meetup groups called Mighty Meetups in Orlando. And, ever since I was a kid, what really intrigued me actually was to find businesses that were failing. I own a marketing company. That's the Mighty Arm logo, Mighty Mike Marketing. And so my goal actually is to transition into business, but what I learned when I started in real estate is that I didn't know what I didn't know. And it took me a year or so to learn that cold calling was one of the primary ways. Got good at that, became a primary listing agent in Orlando, transitioned to commercial a little bit. I haven't really went down the rabbit hole, but I've invested in multifamily. So I'm looking at the business brokerage side of things, and just, it seems like it's kind of the redheaded stepchild of EXP. Like, I'm not really finding really any content other than what you guys are doing or what you guys are posting. So if you could speak to the opportunity or where I might be able to look, I don't mind paying for coaching and that kind of thing to get me started.
So I think that you're right. Business brokerage is a redheaded stepchild of the real estate world. And the reason for that is because business brokers are less than 0.1% of all real estate agents out there. So because we're such a small portion of the industry, and also there's only 17 states that even require a real estate license to sell a business.
Mm-hmm.
The other states you can just sell, you don't have to have any kind of credentials, you can just sell. Because within EXP, they do want to build out a business broker division. And so, John and I, we do our best to try and communicate and do some things out there, but there's a lot. In terms of training, IBBA has wonderful training. IBBA, if you become a business broker within EXP, that's one of the things that they require is that you join the IBBA. If you're in Florida, I know the Florida Business Broker Association is very strong. And so that you may want to join that as well. I'm sure they have a lot of education in there as well. But in terms of EXP, and business brokerage, they want you to join the IBBA, take 3 basic courses that are kind of introduction to business brokerage. I believe it's 104, 107, and 119. Then they'll connect you with an advisor. They want you to work on your first 3 transactions with an advisor. Advisor can be in your state, doesn't have to be. Again, since there's so few of us. I have apprentices that are kind of Oklahoma, Utah, North Carolina, Alabama, kind of all over the country. And I'm in California, and, so John's in Nevada. So we do have, they don't require that your advisor be in your same state, although I think there is an advisor. Well, Gerard Perillo was acting as an advisor and I think he's in Florida. I don't know that he's still doing that. So they have, corporate has a list. I'm not really privy to that list. But
I was curious because I'm actually like all over the place. So like, I do poker tournaments in San Antonio and Vegas, and like right now I'm sitting in New Mexico. I flip houses too. So I actually kind of like the idea of being able to prospect in any state, and I guess maybe focusing on the ones where you don't have to be licensed, and then the one that I am licensed, maybe to start.
Yeah, just to add something on for what it's worth, in the commercial meeting, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, James had mentioned that in 2023, the company is going to start focusing in more strongly on business brokering and EXP for business. What that means, I don't know, but he had it at his 3 or 4 points of agenda points that he had. One of them at top was business brokering. So it's been a slow and steady rise, but I think we're getting there. And Mike, you'll definitely be able to get, one of the great things about being with EXP is the collaboration, whether you're doing business with somebody, trying to do business with somebody, or getting mentored by somebody. By the way, next time you're out in Vegas on a tournament, hit me up, come by the office. We can meet and I can introduce you to everybody over there as well. But, you know, it's just, if you decide to do it, you're definitely going to have the support within the little business broker community that we have. Because I think that we're becoming, you know, we're our own support. You know, how many
Yeah,
of
we
us
have
are
to
out
support
there, you
each
know?
other. I
Yeah.
mean, that's, you know, that's why we're here. That's why we have these Zoom calls twice a month, is so that we
Yeah.
can support people who are looking for information and, you know,
Yeah.
and I know that brokers, you know, there's referrals that come through EXP's workplace periodically where somebody will post something, say, hey, I need a business broker in, you know, I need a business broker in New Mexico, or I need a business broker in Arizona or whatever.
Mhm.
And so, you know, we try and look out for those and send those to the appropriate people or, you know, it just depends on where they're at. And if we happen to know a broker that's in that state, then we'll
Hey,
go ahead and reach out to them and say, hey, here, you know, somebody in workplace is looking for you, so call them.
Mm.
Hey,
Is there a
Rob,
business? Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Mike, finish up. And then I just wanted to answer Rob's question.
Yeah, I was just because you know, one of the first things I do whenever I start like a new you know, a new launch of a business is look at the marketing side of it. So one of the things I was thinking about is finding a community where you can draw on the knowledge maybe that I don't have yet and actually like create a show or something, you know, business brokers, whatever. And then because I have multiple different shows that have like kind of gotten national notoriety within that niche. And so I think if you were to do something like Bill Gross did with like the probate group, you know, the probate niche, like he just does his lives all the time. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, like, so that I could leverage the knowledge of everybody else in the brokerage. I guess, like, where could you point me within EXP? Do I go into EXP commercial to see the classes and resources for business brokering?
Yes, yeah, business brokering is only available to agents who are with EXP Commercial. If you're licensed
Right.
with EXP Realty, you can't sell businesses. But yeah, EXP Commercial and within the EXP certified commercial group, they have a post pinned at the top that has a whole bunch of links to different recorded training sessions and all of that. And so you
Okay.
can get to those as well.
Okay. And then lastly, like, what would you say is your primary source of business? Are you cold calling businesses?
No, I've been doing this a really long time. And so my primary source of business really comes through referrals. Although I am, you know, doing a little bit of stuff out on social media, or I have a virtual assistant that does a little bit of stuff out on social media for me. But most of my business comes either from referrals or from somebody who found me out on the internet and called me up, and I answered my phone because a lot of
Yeah.
brokers apparently don't answer their phones or don't return phone calls. So
Millennials. All right. Well, thank you very
yeah,
much.
yeah, of course. Go ahead, John.
So
Oh, wait, John, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Darren. Yeah, John, you wanted to answer Rob's question?
Yeah, Rob, Rob had asked how business owners find business brokers. Most of the time they don't, because they don't know we exist.
Yeah.
The ones that do, they'll just, honestly, it comes down to, they'll end up probably doing a Google search. And that Google search will inevitably lead them to BizBuySell or LoopNet, couple of other different sites, but that's primarily, and then you have word of mouth. You know, business owners tend to know other business owners, especially within their own industry, and they talk shop, especially when they go to trade shows, and word will get around that way. But for the most part, you know, like Tanya said, how few business brokers are there, you know, in this country, and that also do real estate. So most of them, they're not finding us. The ones that want to find us, they'll find a way to find us.
Well, and Mike, back to your point and your question. I mean, one of the things that I have kind of slated to do in 2023 is, just like we do these Zoom calls twice a month for business brokers and people who want to learn about business brokerage, you know, starting in 2023, I want to do the same thing and do a weekly, not weekly, but kind of twice a month, I want to do Zoom calls that are really for business owners that are wanting to understand more about exit planning and their exit strategies, or ask questions about what do they need to do to prepare their business for sale, or how do they transfer their business to their key employees, or how do they transfer their business to their next generation. Here, they've got 3 kids in the business, or maybe they've got 3 kids, but only 1 kid is in the business. And so what do they do in order when they're wanting to retire, and how, and 80% of their wealth is tied up in the business. So how do they make things even between all their kids? And so just, there's so many topics and so many things that business owners need to understand and have a forum where they can ask these questions. And so the hard part, and Mike, maybe you have a solution for that, is the hard part about it is that business sales is confidential. So we can all pretty much see each other and see names and all of that. And business owners don't want that. Business owners want to be able to ask questions and get information and anonymously. And so I'm not sure the best medium for that, which is why I've kind of thought about it for a long time, but not really acted on it. But I know that I do want to put something together in 2023 so that business owners do have a forum and have the ability to anonymously submit questions or ask questions or do something where they can, they can maintain their anonymity and not notify the world that their business is going to be for sale in the future.
Dear Tonya, I haven't filed my business tax returns in 5 years. How much is my business worth?
Exactly.
And
so
Mike,
chew on that one,
call,
and you can get back to me on that, okay? If you have any ideas.
And Mike, I cold call businesses, so I would definitely encourage you, if you're comfortable cold calling, do the same thing.
Yeah, one thing
that works pretty well. I mean, in terms of getting instant appointments, that is probably your fastest way of getting started in business brokerage, because you can make calls and you can set up appointments for, a couple days later or whatever. You can get appointments that way, typically with smaller businesses, Main Street businesses, but you got to start somewhere. And the truth of the matter is 85% of the businesses in the United States generate less than $1 million in revenue annually. So that Main Street business is the majority of the marketplace out there.
I can tell you that for me, the excitement, I just to finish that up, sorry, Darren, just the excitement for me would be that the idea that I would be the first to find these businesses like gyms, for example, where, they're selling for 15,000 or 40,000, when it's a business that will earn 50,000 a year. Right. And so just like with multifamily real estate, I do want to sell it, but the opportunity for me to be able to buy it is actually what is most exciting for me. And so like getting in the mix of it and being able to actually generate leads and make those relationships is really powerful. And I don't know about you, John, you were saying about calling people. The idea that you could do, like when I started my first business, they had a free business advisor, and I mean, like, why can't, if I'm licensed, why can't I be the business advisor in some of these, cities or county municipalities? So that's just kind of an idea. One of the things I was thinking about.
So what else?